Hello, all. Very good afternoon. We have people joining from various places. I would like to give about 2 minutes for others to settle down and join before we begin the presentation. All right, we have many of the registrants joined the webinar already, and few may be settling down and joining when we start. I'd like to heartily welcome all of you. Thanks for making time on this working day just of the festive season. I hope you have all enjoyed the festive season. I'd like to start with uh, the title itself calling Solving Developer Challenge with Devum. You may be thinking, are there really some problems that are needed to be solved by a webinar like this arranged by a team of people? We had the similar question, and to experiment the same, we had arranged an in-person Devum Round Table during a few weeks ago at our office. And we were overwhelmed by the valuable feedbacks that the team has given. I have a slide which covers mostly everything that we discussed in that slide. It just does not stops there. We had gone further and discussed, is there any problem developers of the starting age or the middle age phase in a day-to-day life that they think which are really critical or having a solution for the same would really make their life better. And we happen to gather few of the questions even through our casual discussions, which are also captured in the upcoming slides. I'd like to start the presentation with brief intro of the agenda. We will be starting with a deeper development dive by my colleagues Prem Kumar and Bhavishya, in which you will see the demonstration and the explanation of the architecture behind the application Devum itself, followed by a brief intro on the questions that I was discussing. Then I'll be taking up you all through the deployment problems or the challenges a developer or an business user would face when it comes to moving applications from one environment to another environment. We will from there move on towards Q&A, which will be an interactive session where you can post all your questions or the queries. We would like to answer mostly every questions in these sessions. In case the questions are really needing elaborative answers, we would come back to you with the required answers in the later stage. Without much delay, we will move on to our slideshow. I would like to keep you all informed that we have pre-recorded this session for the purpose of managing the time better. We will be walking along with you while watching these sessions and navigating through every slides that we have explained here. I'd request you to gather a cup of coffee because this will be a lengthy session as we are deep diving into many concepts. Thank you all. Enjoy the recording. Anytime you have a question, please feel free to write a chat or raise a Q&A. Welcome again. I'd like to start with discussion of few of the issues that we had uncovered during our in-person roundtable session held at our office. Few of you had attended the session and given your valuable feedbacks to generate this list. Additionally, this list also consists few of the questions that our fellow developers had raised during our casual discussions. I would like to inform that this slide is not purposed to derive the solutions at, but just go through the problems that exist and agree upon that these are the real problems that on a day-to-day basis developers are facing. I'd like to start with the problems of many. When we say the problems of many, it is the problems of many people, but also the problems of many knowledge bases. In today's AI age, getting informations from internet from various resources is just a prompt away. If we can define the problem statement with error log or description or a screenshot, there are AI agents that can bring the answers exactly to match the scenario and may probably provide the solutions as well. But is that sufficient to derive a business problem in a holistic manner to get a functional feature or application done? It's a debatable question. I'll leave it at that. Next problem is delivery timelines affected due to knowledge gaps. When we say the knowledge gaps, it can be caused by multiple reasons. If there is a project that is transferred from a different organization to your organization, there may be less documentations that was handed over as part of knowledge transfer from the other company, or there are very few code comments that can straight away make you understand what has been written and why it has been written. There can be knowledge gaps that are created within the organization cross teams. Say a business analysis or the project management would document it to the fullest as per their understanding. However, it may not be sufficient as a developer to you understand the problem statement fully and derive a concise solution. In an ideal world, every developer would like to spend more time on analysis to understand the business problem in deep and then dive into the code to derive the exact solution. However, due to constraints of quicker deliveries or the time it would take to develop a solution in the traditional coding method, developers most probably tend to start coding and trying out various options before coming up to a functional feature. Adopting new technologies has its own challenges in terms of coping up with the learning curve. Say you can make out the time and you can learn, there is other constraints like budget to adopt to the new technology, to dedicate to the training or the learning itself, and then finally comes the infrastructure cost. In our previous question, we had delivery timelines due to knowledge gaps. It could be due to lesser documentation. Say the teams are so detailed that they have covered every edge cases and were able to create the documentation, but the analysis of the same documentation which are elaborated in detail, coming to a precise requirement, having the concise summary of everything that is required is also a challenge. AI tools today with agentic AI coming into picture are increasingly going capable, generating functioning applications more prominently in a faster approach and very precise to the requirement. A traditional development approach against this AI approach would be a challenging task for many of the developers. There are many industries that still today uses legacy applications, maybe .NET for example. It could be multiple reasons why they could not upgrade. It can be technology challenges, it can be domain knowledge, it can be knowledge gap that are created from a long ago systems that were created during the initial days. Troubleshooting and debugging is the favorite problem of every developer on a day-to-day basis. We end up spending a lot of time deep digging into someone else's code to understand what is happening, or maybe the loop that we have created ourselves in the quickest delivery problem. In the previous slide, we discussed few of the issues that we had uncovered. Before diving down to the solutions itself, I'd like to introduce the platform Devum. Devum is just not a development platform. It's a comprehensive ecosystem designed to empower both businesses and technical teams. I'd like to walk you all through the key features of the Devum which makes it so powerful. Devum console itself is a deployment playground where a normal developer or an end user can visually deploy, upgrade, downgrade, upscale, downscale, monitor, check the logs, use the connectors functions to see whether the integration is working properly or not, and many more. App administration is an organization's admin space where he can create as many as apps in the platform, allow them to talk each other, or make them talk to an integrated third-party application, create users and roles. It consists of role-based access control system as deeper as form level controls. Data Modeler is our visually data model creation tool where you can, in a visual drag and droppable manner, create tables, create interrelationships by drawing a line from one field to another field, creating foreign keys, have data entities that are created which can be visualized easily. Devum domain services are our unique backend Algorithm building features consists of major functions that can be taught to design a business applications. The two in a drag and drop manner, which can be parameterized, can be consumed by different services, or can also be exposed to be consumed by third party services. Say the functional library is not sufficient to solve a challenge that a developer is facing to derive a function feature, the library itself is expandable by microservices. App Studio, what you see, what you get Composer, is one place where anything that can be done visually as exactly as it would render in the runtime. It's not just about creating the UI, it's about using the web components that can bind to data that was created in the data modular, or it can be the area where you can build interactions using various clicks or the actions. It's a holistic web application builder in a visual manner. Devum Workflow Builder enables automating any business processes that can be taught in series. Devum KPI builders are so rapid KPI application generators which can talk to the data stored in the application or get a formula based values using the domain services in as real time as 5 seconds delays, or combined with report scheduler be sent as reports once in a week or day or month as per the requirement. To complete the circle, we introduced Devum DevBot, which is an AI assistant to build an entire application using just a single prompt description. It's not just about building an application using the prompt, it is combined with the fully controllable, fully flexible, what you see, what you get drag and droppable composers capacity, solving man in the middle challenge to build complex applications. I'd like to welcome my colleagues Prem and Bhavishya to take you on a deeper dive onto technicalities behind the platform, which can answer a lot of questions that we discussed in our previous slides.
Thank you, Chinmay. I'm Prem Kaur, a front-end engineer at Reactor. In the previous slide, we explored the key features and models that power DevOps. Let's take a moment to reimagine how software development can feel faster, smarter, and more inclusive. At Devum, we believe rapid development is not just about the speed, it's about unlocking potential across team, role, and platform. Starting from idea to impact. Visual development tools are changing the game. What used to take weeks or months can now be prototyped and launched in days. This acceleration means your idea doesn't just stay on the whiteboard, they reach user faster with real impact. In Devil, every module from domain services to App Studio to workflow is designed around the what you see and what you get philosophy, ensuring that what you build visually is exactly what you get deployed. This approach accelerates MVP delivery and stakeholder validation, supports a modular architecture with reusable and extensible components, and enable parallel development across diverse roles, from designer to development to developer to the business analyst, all working in sync. Devom is designed to empower business users, not just professional coders, to actively participate in the app creation process. By minimizing reliance on specialized coding expertise, organization can significantly cut development cost, mitigate project risks, and respond swift to evolving business needs. This inclusive approach fosters stronger collaboration between technical and business team while enabling non-technical contributor to build functional prototype that align closer with real-world requirement. With the built-in analytics and reporting, every application built with Devon tool, inclusive building performance monitoring, ensure that you are not just launching, you are continuously learning. With the real-time insights in to app health and the user engagement, developer can optimize experience on the fly, run A/B tests to refine UX, and make informed decisions driven by actual user behavior and system metrics. Secure, scalable, and cross-platform. So whether you are deploying to the cloud or on-premise or across device, Devum ensure your solution remains secure, enterprise-grade, reliable, and effortless scale across mobile, web, and hybrid environment. Its flexible architecture empowers to meet user wherever they are without being constrained by infrastructure locking or platform limitations. This is what we call a cultural shift in development. Let's move from speed to intelligence. Smart development is about building faster and smarter, automating the repetitive, simplifying the complex, and amplify developer creativity. Devon bring this to life through two core tools, DevBot and Visual Studio. A DevBot, your programmable assistance. DevBot is more than automation. It's your co-creator. It understands your application vision with minimal input and help bring you into your life. In Devum, DevBot plays a crucial role in transforming your application vision into reality. It interprets high-level idea and generate foundational structure, whether it's defining the right schema, suggest intensive dashboard layouts, or creating a functional pages which tailoring to your intent. By automating this core task, DevBot significantly reduces manual effort by ensuring developers retain full control over customization, logic, and refinement. Think DevBot as your programmable assistant, one that listen, understand, and build alongside you. Next thing is about Visual Studio. The Devon Studio provides a powerful visual interface for big user interfaces, workflow, and logic blocks, making this more than just a tool for non-coders. For a developer, it's act as a productive accelerator, enabling rapid prototype, quick validations of idea, seamless transition to custom code when needed. Behind the scene, it generates clean, extensible code, support custom component and API integrations, and offer real-time preview with rollback capability for fast and confident iterations. Smart development is not about replicating, replacing developers. It's about empowering them. With DevBot and the Visual Studio, Devum gives you leverage to build faster, reduce friction, and stay focused on what matters, delivering resilience, scale, system.
Here talk about what DevBot can do. Now let's see it in action. Let us begin by logging into Devum platform. I'll enter my username and password and sign. We are taken directly to the admin dashboard. So this is our admin dashboard. So this is our central workspace. From here, we can manage existing applications and monitor performance. And most importantly, we can start creating our very first app. On clicking the add new, the system will prompt to build an app using three different options, using DevBot, template, or from scratch. Let's begin with starting building a new app using DevBot. And click on next. The system will prompt to give an app name and the description about your app. So today I want to create an app for my expense tracker. So the short description is expense tracker application to manage my daily expenses with alerts. So this is a simple prompt description I given to the bot. So now the bot understands what the user wants and it try to summarize and give a short description about the expense tracker app. Followed by there is a couple of configurations we have to be complete. So starting with the app URL, so the user can provide the URL so through which once the app is deployed, it can be accessible. Let's start with giving the app code. Expenses film tracker. Then you can select the theme and click on continue. Now DevBot now intercept that intent and begin crafting the code structure of the application. First, it will suggest a schema, the entities like expenses, budget, users, status, and so on. We can review and tweak as it needed. This actually saves hours of manual setup and ensure align with the app logic. Let's give a moment. All right. So as the DevBot suggested tables, this is not just a read only. So the user can go and edit and extend and ready for the custom logic and the UI enhancements. So starting with, we can add a new fields and we can delete a field and we can change the type of the field. Also, we can change the type of the table, whether it's a master, reference, or transaction. The bot actually generates some data or sample data for each entity. If you want to skip the generation, we can say we can disable this option and click on save. On click of publish and continue, the bot will take you to the next step, which is generating pages. So the page which will require for the expense tracker. We'll start with creating the system pages, which is basically the CRUD pages, where we can add, delete, and insert the new records. The second one is the application, or we can call business pages, where the bot will take the short description of each page and try to generate the required dashboard, or you can create a page for each and every feature. So on click of generate, the system will start generating the page. Let's wait for a moment. This completes the generation of all the application pages. So by click on continue, we'll be reaching to our final step where the application will be created and it's ready to publish. So on click of publish, the system will prompt to switch to the newly created app. So I'll just confirm that. Now the user is logged into expense tracker application. On click of the preview app, we'll be able to see the application with complete responsiveness. And as of now, the system will take a couple of minutes from 10 to 15 minutes to create the domain, so wherein we can access the application. In the meantime, we can jump into the dev space. Let's begin with the very first module, data modeler. Data modeler is an essential module designed to allow app builders to create data entity and model them according to the business and app design requirements. Data modeler uses a graphic representation of your data entity and how they connect and relate to other entities. And that makes the data model far more transparent and easy for app builder. Here are the list of tables which are created as part of the expense tracker application. And here the user or the app builder can add a new column to the existing tables, or they can start creating new one from here, and or we can edit the existing fields directly on click on the edit option. It has quite advanced configurations available in order to play with. We'll be going deeper in the upcoming webinars. For now, we'll be just giving an overview of all the feature models. The next model we are going to talk about is App Builder or App Studio. So App Studio is a user-friendly application and interface design module which allow you to design and create the front-end interface for your applications. It can be a web application, or can be a mobile, or it can be a report. App Studio work on the premises of what you see is what you get, meaning that the layout and the appearance of your app at the design time will reflect when it is looked at the runtime. So once the layout is defined, you can compose your actual interface by just dragging and dropping the required control and the widgets to the canvas. Here you can see the set of pages which are created using our dev bot. Let's go and just select one of the page. Which in this case, I am choosing a dashboard. So this is a simple dashboard which the bot has created for us. And let's go a little deeper into each component out of the App Studio. Starting with the control library, an extensive library of controls and means to customize the appearance, which means you can create almost any interface you can think of. Starting from simple layout like card and to go to 2D maps, and even you can create a 3D environment where you can visualize, you can create a digital twin. The next feature I'm going to talk about is the style and user interface. So each control will have a interface where we can improvise the look and feel of our website or our page. This will have the appearance session as well as the configuration session, which will help to redesign your app. So for instance, we have a background color for the selected container. I can go and change the color to the color which I need. Next comes to the interactions, user interactions. So this is where when the user clicks on the particular container or a button, how the system is going to react. So for instance, on click, whether I want to open a dialog or I open a side panel or I want to navigate to a page or want to open a new page, all these behaviors can be, or actions can be managed from interactions. And let's move on to the next core feature, which is data binding. This helps to link the data source to the interface itself to make the app or interface functional. So which means what you see now is the mock data. This can be make it real time by adding the data source to it. The final one is the condition and events. So applying condition logic and behavior and even trigger your interface. So on click of this, you can say when to show, when to enable, or even you can, when something some condition met, what you want to do, whether you want to send a notification or you want to apply a behavior. The behavior can be any styles or even it can be any function. All these things can be handled with our App Studio. As we see, each and every features will be saved in the draft layer. On click of publish, this will be published into the actual version. So now since we published, we want to preview how our app works. So on click on the preview in new tab, this opens the dashboard along with my other menu items. Since I have not chosen the right theme, so the system has prompted a default theme for my app. So here are the other pages which the system has created, which is starting with expense entry, budget sessions, and management, and the search and filter, and so on. The system also generates the system pages, which is in our case, which is role or expense and the budget. So these are all the normal correct pages where I should be able to add a new file, new budget for my current record, and I can edit the existing budgets and so on. So these things can be, this is the runtime version of your application. This completes the page builder feature walkthrough. Let's start with our next module, which is domain services. Domain services allow user to easily create logic directly on the user interface, eliminating the need of backend developer expertise, which means app builder can design and manage service visually. It also reduces development and deployment time. It enhances business logic transparency, simplify the debugging when paired with the monitor log. Let's get started. So there is a hello test world, simple basic services being created. And here are the list of functions. Functions are the building block for creating the domain services. They are drag and drop into the service definition, which we have service definitions, or the design canvas, where they can be incorporated into the logical expressions. So let's go and start writing our simple code. So we have two types of view. One is the designer, the second one is the code view. So if you're a developer, you can directly go here and start writing your first code. So what I want to do is I just want to print the hello world. So the moment when I write a line of code in the code editor, when you switch to the design mode, it converts the string and into a visual element. So this is for the code professional developer, and here we have for the normal app builder who are completely new to the development. So now I printed this. I want to log the string. So I go and drag and drop info log, and will choose I want to display the variable one. So by selecting this, now the system will display what the output of this variable one. So again, the system is saved as a draft layer. I click on compile and publish, it will publish. Okay, here comes the compiled error. Okay, the system says that every function should have a return type. So what I've created is a basic service. The basic should have a return type. So I click on the compilation. I can go and search for the return type and drag and drop the return type. So the return type means when I call this function, what should be the return? So in this case, I want to return the string as a output. So on click of publish, it will publish my page. So far, we have seen how we created a simple service. Before we ship into this, we have a next and the special feature we have, the testing and simulation. We should be able to test our application, test these functions before we roll it to the end user or maybe the other module users. So if I click on the testing test case, so I can create my test case name. Since there is no input field defined here, so it is not showing any properties. The input can be defined by clicking on the plus button in the header session. So click on save. Now the newly test case are created. It will be listed here. Now by clicking on run, the system will execute this test case and will print all the executions of the selected test case. So here you can see it printed each and every line, what we see here, variable, variable2, until the last return function. And it's thrown exception stating that asset is not defined. So which means I can edit it and I can So this has multiple blocks. So I can add a assets block where I can match the conditions. So the variable one is actually a hello world. This will help us to validate our service with the different possible use case scenarios. This completes the domain service demo. Let's start with the next feature, KPI Builder. KPI Builder is a place where you'll be creating your key performance indicator to bind data to your app interfaces. So the KPI composing a materialized view we call M view, which are the key components which are required to create a KPI. So starting with what do you how how you want to KPIs to be processed, whether you want it as a real time or you want it as a on demand. This will be defined in our first step. The second, how do you want to trigger your MU calculation? Whether you want to trigger by time or you want to trigger by batch, or even what condition must be calculated. So that will be happen in the step 2, and followed by the defined input and the response parameters. So input and response, what value must be passed to generate your KPI? That will be defined in the input parameter, and in the response defines the response needed when we call this KPI. That will be defined on this. And finally, once we capture this, we'll be defining our core business logic through offline service, or we call domain services. When the condition meets, this KPI will be triggered and the service will be called. The next feature we want to touch upon is Workflow Builder. Workflow Builder is a comprehensive tool designed to simplify the creation, management, and optimization of workflow. It supports everything from automating routine tasks to designing a complex process, make it ideal for boosting efficiency and streamline operation. Workflow is a visual representation of a series of operations or tasks depicted through various shapes. Each shape within the workflow defines or symbolizes a specific task to be performed. Tasks in each essence or sequence of operation or action that are carried out in a structural manner to achieve a particular objective or outcome. So here we can see we have a start is a one task, an email task, and the end task. And what you see in the top session is each one is a specific task, and it will also list the service which we just created. So I can drag and drop a service, and I can link the service to it, and then I can also. So when the service started, when the process starts, it will send an email, and also it will print a hello world string, and it ends. This is a simple workflow, what we have seen. Let's move on to our next and final module, report scheduling. This report scheduling is a productive tool that automates the generation and delivery of a report at predefined intervals. It enables user to schedule recurrent reports on daily, weekly, or monthly basis, ensuring timely insights without manual effort. When you click on the add new, the system will prompt to select a report. So in this case, I have a daily expense report to be selected. And if there is any input required for this report, it will be listed here. The next session would be the recurrence. How often you want to trigger this report? You want to go for a daily basis or in a calendar way, or even you can give a cron expression where you can define on what basis you want to trigger this report. The next section is the output formats, where we can give the files. The generated file will be in the document or CSV or PDF or Excel. And even you can choose the destination, whether you want it as an email, FTP, or WhatsApp or SMS. And finally, the notification, where each and every report generation, whether we can send out a successful notification or a failure notification, or we want to track the job reports, which is each and every reports that can be configured from for each and every report. This ideally for the team that rely on constant data update. It supports seamless decision making and improve operation efficiency. With this, we bring us to the close of our platform demo. We are truly excited about what we can build together. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Bhavish Puri, working as a technical lead in Reactor. In the previous section, we saw how easily an application can be created in Devum using a prompt and the core components of the platform. This slide highlights Devum modular architecture and its powerful integration capabilities, which make it a platform for enterprise-grade solution. Modular widgets. Devum offers a library of modular widgets that can be easily configured and reused across applications. These components accelerate development and ensure consistency in UI and functionality. Next is the reusable templates. Templates allows teams to standardize workflows and design patterns, whether it's a form, dashboard, or report layout. Template reduce work and promote best practices. Robust reporting engines. Reporting is built into the core of Devum. With customizable dashboards and exportable formats, user can generate insights in real time, tailored to their operation needs. With Devum's report scheduler, they can schedule the report in later point of time as well. Integration adapters. One of the Devum standout feature is its integration adapters. These microservice-based connectors allow seamless communication with external systems like SAP, ERP, and IoT devices. As shown on the right, Devum supports a wide range of data formats and protocols, from file-based inputs like CSV and JSON to GIS and 3D model converters, and even industrial-based protocols like TSP, TCP, and Modbus. These adapters ensure that data flows smoothly across systems regardless of the format and source. With modular design, reusable assets, and deep integration capabilities, Devum is built to scale and adapt to the complex enterprise environments. This slide gives us a deeper look into Devum's architecture, both backend and frontend, and how it supports scalable, customizable, and connected development. Let's talk about the backend architecture. At core of the Devum backend is a robust microservice framework. Using the microservice framework, Devum provides a library of microservice functions for commonly used standard protocols like TCP, API, database connectors, and various cloud services. Microservice SDK can be used by developers to write their own custom functions using popular languages of their choice, such as Java, Scala, Python, C Sharp, and JavaScript. Backend components are containerized using Docker, making Devum highly scalable and portable across environments, whether you are deploying it on-prem or on the cloud server. Communication between services is handled by a gRPC, ensuring high performance and low latency integration. Now let's talk about the front-end architecture. On the front end, Devum provides studio controls that allows deep customization. Developers can build and extend UI web components created with popular frameworks like Angular, React, and Vue.js. This modular approach ensures that team can tailor the user experience while maintaining consistency and performance. In summary, Devum's architecture is designed to be flexible, developer-friendly, and enterprise-ready. During the previous roundtable discussion, developer highlighted testing, debugging, and auditing as one of their key challenges. In the upcoming slides, we'll discuss how Devum addresses these pain points through its integrated testing and simulation and log management capabilities, making development faster, smarter, and more reliable. Using the testing and simulation feature, developer can test and debug their services effortlessly. You can create comprehensive unit test cases for all your services. You can easily mock data instead of using live integration or database connections to simulate real-world scenarios. Set breakpoints and debug seamlessly within your environment. For log management, Devum provides built-in functions such as error log and info log, which can be used inside your domain services for effective log handling. Using Monitor and Debug Log Console, we can monitor and visualize service level logs in real time. Platform also provide access to historical logs, which can be viewed and downloaded for deeper analysis and troubleshoot. In this slide, we'll be highlighting Devum's logging framework for system and application audits. Devum offers a comprehensive built-in audit logging framework for complete visibility. It helps tracking user activities and monitor all system level changes in real time. It helps in incident investigation and precise root cause analysis. Devum also empowers developers to enable end-to-end auditing across all the application data for the application designed by them. Every change is tracked to ensure transparency, traceability, and data integrity. Devum provides a unified view of data evolution throughout the application lifecycle, which in turn build trust and reliability into every Devum-powered application. In this slide, let's talk about expanding capabilities with Devum. First one is revamping legacy systems with responsive UI. Many organizations still rely on legacy systems that are functional but outdated in terms of user experience. Devum helps breathe new life into these systems by layering responsive modern UI without needing a full backend rewrite. Progressive web apps and modern web. Devum supports the development of progressive web apps, PWAs, combining the best of web and mobile experiences. These applications are fast, reliable, and installable, ideal for today's multi-device users. Seamless backend upgrades and integrations. Whether you are upgrading databases, APIs, or entire services, Devum ensures smooth backend transitions. Its integration adapters and microservice architecture allow for plug-and-play upgrades with minimal disruptions. These offerings makes Devum not just a development platform, but a strategic partner in digital transformation.
Welcome back. Hope you all had wonderful demonstration sessions by my colleague Prem Kumar and Bhavishya, taking you through features of Devum that addresses the exact issues that we discussed in our first slide. Also, you had a deeper dive into the architecture behind Devum, which allows you to expand, extend, or be compatible to any legacy applications, making it a fully digitalization partner. I'd like to touch base upon few of the deployment challenges that on a day-to-day basis developers or the business users face. The first main thing is the visibility challenge. Whenever there is a deployment that is required from one environment to another environment, it is always a process of concise teams. Moving from dev to stage to UAT, or UAT to prod has always less visibility in terms of seeing what exactly is happening behind the scene. Upgrades and rollbacks for the reasons of feature upgrades or for the reasons of security patches. And during this process, if there is anything that is broken in an existing application, rolling it back is again a process that has to be requested through a different team. Requirement of data migration from one application environment to another application environment for the purpose of copying master data, or in few scenarios the transactional data itself. Data backups and restores are majorly always handled by the ops team, where there has been a schedule that is put for the backups, and whenever there is a disaster or when there is a need for restore, it has to be requested through a certain process. Handling versions, the version upgrades due to security patches, or the version upgrades due to improved features in the dependency libraries, though you don't want to upgrade the exact same thing. To keep it current, you have to keep upgrading the application or the platform itself. The infrastructure management, which can be upscaling or downscaling, like changing the RAM or CPUs or purchasing more nodes, or it may be as simple as restarting the application or monitoring the logs. Combining all these together, there is a very common statement that we get to hear is it was working in my system. Why? Because I had control of my system to the fullest, so I could make it work. It's not the same when it comes to different environments that is handled by DevOps teams. To address few of these problems, Devum has introduced few features that can be fully controlled by developers or the application developers themselves, like app templates. App templates is a feature which allows the application developer to export the entire application as a JSON file. Devum offers visual tools to do the upgrades and the rollbacks on their own, just a button click away. Available versions are listed. Application users can choose which version to go for. After the update, they can monitor the logs, also go through the application. If there is an error, they can roll it back themselves using the same single button click. Data migration can also be handled using app templates. App templates does not just take the features but also the data. Data to the level that you can select an individual table, or you can select by the type of data, calling it master or transactional. Database restores are mostly handled using managed databases. In majority scenarios, it is hosted on public clouds by Reactor, or even in the private clouds or the dedicated on-premise setup, Reactor can handle the databases, take care of the database backups and restores during the disaster. As explained during introduction of Devum, Devum comes with Devum Console, a visual layer for DevOps playground, where you can manage the infrastructure as detailed as upgrading, degrading the resources like increasing CPUs or decreasing RAMs, etc., or as simple as restarting a pod as an application or just watching the monitoring logs. I'd like to take you in my next slide through few of the features that addresses this. Devum Console consists of key features which are helpful for you to manage the infra, scaling, debugging, monitoring, all at your hand visually. On the left side, upper part, as you see, the polygon is the pod which can be controlled using the button to restart the application, or use the resource structure to allocate or deallocate resources like CPU or RAM, use revisions to update to the latest available version or select more updates to go to a particular version, use the update history to roll back to a particular version that you had upgraded back in time. Devum Console allows you to watch the consumptions of CPUs or RAMs by your application on each individual nodes. It also additionally allows you to upgrade by adding more nodes or deleting existing nodes if the consumption is really less. Console also allows you to watch the logs, which are pod level, to see what exactly is happening in your application development platform in the background. Before diving into demonstration to show the console itself, I'd like to cover one major challenge that the modern web application development teams would face is being compatible or compliant to the security challenges that the industry poses. Starting with SSO integration, which are mandatory to cover SAML, LDAP, MFA kind of adoptions, making sure the data theft protections are in place, data are encrypted during the translation or transition or at rest, lack of role based access control systems which can go as deeper as field levels in the form, options to provide disaster recovery in case of maybe ransomware attacks like scenarios. These all comprises the major security compliance challenges when developing a web application in a traditional method, because this itself can take a lot of time unless there is a ready module that are available. Devum as a platform tries to address all these challenges by bringing features more and more on a day-to-day basis when there is an upgrade, or adopting to all the compliant features that are required as a platformic approach, which can be used into your applications just by dragging and dropping the available controls. Devum supports built-in SAML or LDAP integrations, Google SSO integrations, or MFA configurations, which are just parameters that need to be set to a particular application. Devum by default uses encryption for the data at rest, also uses the translation layer encryptions, and provides fully controllable authentication tokens when you are exposing or importing data from third-party integrated applications. Devum comes with a fully controllable role-based access control system where you can define a custom role and map the permissions as deeper as field level into a form. As Devum is a platformic approach and is hosted on major public cloud providers, by default it complies with all the majority certifications that the industry would demand. By default, the applications developed on the platform will be compatible to all these standards or the compliance certifications. However, in case of an individual certificate or domain name specific applications that need to be posted for the certification, the process itself will be easy enough as it is a platform that already supports all these compliances. Hello all, let me walk you through Devum console. When a user subscribes to Devum, he gets a login to a console environment like this. A console environment consists majorly the environment, the node monitoring, the pod monitoring, and the pod control on the right side when you click on a particular pod name. I'll brief what an environment is. Right now we are seeing a production environment. This is an application just with one single environment where one instance of application is running. As a user, you have an option to create an additional environment. Say you want to create a UAT, allocate available resources out of your pooled resources from the plan that you have chosen to a specific environment. That may be by dragging and dropping allocating a particular CPU or allocating a particular RAM. You can also mark whether this environment what you are creating is just a testing environment or the production. So the backups and the rollback options that are enabled in the background. When you create an environment, you get the deployment done with various core pods that are required to run the application platform itself on the available nodes. When you hover on the node, you will happen to see the informations related to node itself, including the IP address where the node itself is running, the resource that it is being consumed on a given node. It also gets deeper into the pod level where you can see the resources that each pods are consuming. When you click on the pod names, you get a pop-up slide from the right side which allows you to control the pod alone by clicking on this to restart or allocating the resources more or less based on the available resources, updating the pod by upgrading to upgrade the application either with the latest available or by going to more updates to a particular application update that is available. You can also go back and see the update history and use this option to roll back the application. By clicking on the pod itself, you can see the detailed pod logs specific to that application at the moment of time what is happening. The same can be either downloaded, exported for the purpose of later reviewing or debugging. In the console, you additionally have option to view the logs of the cluster itself provided that you own the cluster. The pod log was just about the pod. Now the cluster log is about the Kubernetes cluster that is running behind the scene to orchestrate all these nodes. You can also create roles and permissions in the apps administration, which I will be covering in the next sessions. You can see the logs in a summary view instead of a detailed view, which will give you key stages what was actually happened in each timestamp by detailing what is the action that has been taken. Also, in case of any failures due to an action taken, you have an option to retry and continue the specific action that you want to take. Microservices are our expandable libraries which can be developed in your own languages, say Python or Node.js or Vue.js, and then installed or pushed as an image into Docker Hub of our own Docker, or register your own Docker Hub to bring that into the compatibility. When you have a microservice that is available in the Docker Hub, you'll have the flexibility of installing them as a service running within the node cluster of yours. You also have option to manage your nodes by purchasing more nodes by adding your card or degrading the plan itself if you are seeing there is not much of the consumption that is happening. We saw Devum console allowing deployments, controlling the resources or the infrastructure, seeing the logs and the monitorings, or expanding by installing microservices. We are now logged into App Administrator dashboard where you can see all the apps that are created in an application at a single place. I'd like to cover app templates in this page, which helps us to migrate apps from one place to another place by saving the application entirely as a compressed JSON. Under app administration, inside the app templates, we have the option to create a template. When you want to create a template, you can go select option save as template and name it the way you want to call the template as. I would call this dev to stage migration. You are also presented with an option to write a complete description of the app changes or the release notes itself in a detailed rich text format. You are provided with an option to select a user table data which would contain any selective transaction data or the site-wise data if your application is a multi-site application where you can select an individual site by choosing each of them. Or you can also choose to take report schedule data if you have created actual schedules of the reports in the dev environment. For the demonstration purpose, I'll be skipping all these options to take the data. I'll save the template. When you click on save template, the template creation itself goes in progress in the background, and once the template is created, it will be uploaded to a cloud source, also be available to download into your very own computer as a backup. The same can be either used for the future as a backup or to upgrade the application using the import option if there is an application that is on premise which doesn't have access to the cloud resources. You will be provided with an option to upload the very template that you have downloaded to upload as a update to the next application. The same template not only as an update instant as a new application template can also be used under the create new app, create using the template option. So this is how in Devum you can overcome the challenges of deployment visibilities. You can overcome the challenges of owning full control when creating or migrating an application. I'd like to quickly walk through the security features that Devum offers as inbuilt features to be compliant for all the security challenges that we discussed. Under user management, we have option for user pool setting, allowing user login controlled by different security policies which can define the password length, which can define the validity of the password, which can define the allowed domain names or the blocked domain names, and the additional providers login that I was discussing in terms of bringing SSO compatibility. Devum today allows Facebook, Google, uh, Amazon Cognito as SSO providers, plus as a protocol SAML, any login authentication providers that support SAML can be supported straight away with Devum. Additionally, under the global client configurations, you can enable or disable the MFA requirement for a particular application. Under MFA, you are provided with option to choose either TOTP based authenticator apps like Authy or Microsoft or Google Authenticator, or just a simple OTP service as email messages. Additionally, under the global app client configurations, you can set the token expiration validity as minimum as few minutes or as long as a days. You can set the access token validity. You can set ID token validity for any authorization tokens that you have generated for API authentications, or you can enable disable the pre-configured third-party SSO login providers. And as discussed earlier, the application platform itself allows you to be compatible by default to all the major compliance certificates, as the application platform itself is hosted in well-known public or private cloud providers. I'd like to conclude the demonstration by covering all these features. We would look forward to walk you through all various different features that the Devum itself supports in upcoming webinars. Hope you all had great time watching the demonstrations and seeing the architecture behind the Devum itself, which can enable a normal developer uh, to be a fully digitalization platform just with this tool. We would like to open the bench for question and answers. We would welcome any questions. Feel free to write your questions in the Q&A session. We would like to take one of that by each of us and then try to answer in this session. If the questions are really requiring lengthy or elaborative answers, we would take this in the background and respond to you with the answers. I would encourage you ask any questions that you may have while many are typing the questions. All right. I have a question from Raghavendra who asks, how is the AI application builder in Devum is different than the other app builders available out in the market? It's a very good question. I would like to take it myself. We ourselves have tried many AI application generating tools. Of course, it's getting better day by day with agentic approaches. However, we see a major gap, that is man in the middle. Whenever there is an application that is generated requiring inputting your thought process, tweaking it to the way you are envisioning it, or matching it to an enterprise grade complex scenario, has always been a problem with the other tools which we had experimented so far. We see a major difference with Devum when combined with this kind of app generating LLM application is we generate components that are fully available under what you see, what you get composer, where you can drag and drop additional controls or edit the existing controls in the way you want to tweak, use them to bind the data or build interactions on top of it. We always see combining with ever-growing AI agentic application development approach along with a low-code platform like ours would be a great advantage for building an end-to-end enterprise applications. I hope this answers the questions Raghavendra has raised. I'd like to move on to the next question that Shilpa is asking. How can we get assistance for the project building if we are stuck at any pages? I'd like to pass this on to Prem for the answer.
So how a user can get assist when we try to create a when they're stuck in a particular page. So there are a couple of inbuilt assistants we have with our platform. So starting with each and every module, we'll have a health check. So that will keep monitoring your changes and it will do a health check in the background. And that is one. And we'll be having the option in the top bar where when you click on the health tracking, it will give you the metrics and where the fine-tune or optimization is required. Also, if there is any issues which has to be forcefully to be fixed, that also will be pops up when you try to publish. I think in our today's demo, we have seen when we write a service, when you try to click on the publish, so there was a function was missed out. So without that, if I ship, it would have been broken on the production. So these kind of metrics will help you to find and tell you that, okay, what are the steps you have to take when you perform some actions. So with these are the few, and we are optimizing this in the background. So in the upcoming releases or versions, we'll have more AI capabilities where it will intelligently tell what should be the next move when you perform any task. So this is how your DevBot will assist you on every stage on whenever you're stuck in a problem. It applies to page building, domain services, or KPI or a workflow. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Prem. Thank you for explaining the inbuilt features. I would like to also add upon on this. We have a fully working community at community.devum.com, which all of you can subscribe to and raise your questions. We will have real developers who have developed lots of applications in Devum answering your problems. You also have a fully explained, self-explainable video assisted documentation available at docset.devum.com, which we will be sharing at the end of this slide. I'd like to move on to the next question. Suresh asking, what are the other AI features available or in roadmap for Devum? That's a good question. AI being an ever-growing technology, we also have a lot of features in the roadmap for Devum. One such being maybe an auto suggestion of templates or the components to the exact scenario what you are trying to build, which will be an exciting feature accompanied with hundreds plus applications what Devum has built so far. As most of you may already know, Devum is not a new application that is in the ground today. It is being used internally by Reactor and few of the partners for last 3-4 years to build enterprise grade applications as complex as 3D playgrounds, as complex as map-based dashboards. With all this knowledge in hand, we will be bringing up the suggestion engine, which can basically provide an exact component that can be used to solve the problems. I hope this answers the question. Additionally, we will be posting few of the roadmaps that we will have for the upcoming Devum releases in our community. I'd like to welcome if there are any more questions. Right. I think I would encourage you to reach us in any other mode of conversations. We will be happy to answer any of your questions. There is an additional question that we have received by Kumar, which is talking about the cost itself. The subscription cost of Devum is something that will be available for the public when we are releasing Devum 2.0 along with the AI features. However, for now, we welcome all of you and your colleagues or the friends to try out Devum using our free 120 days subscription at try.devum.com. Of course, as webinar attendees and the early bird members, you will have greater discounts available for the subscription of the Devum. All right, thank you. Without much delay, I understand it was a long call and it's a weekend that you want to end your day. We would like to heartily thank you all of your presence. So we will be looking forward to host our next webinar talking mostly on the challenges of overcoming monolithic application development. The dates will be announced soon. On the screen, as you see, few of the URLs that you can walk away with, which can be helpful for you to understand the Devum in full. Also, try hands-on with try.devum.com. CommunityDevum.com is our community where you can subscribe yourself and ask any of the questions with the screenshots and the questions that you want to get answer for an exact problem. Docs.devum.com, as explained, will provide you a complete detailed user guide. Additionally, we have Devum by Reactor as a YouTube channel available, which has all the videos which explains various application building scenarios. I'd like to thank you once again. Have a great evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the participation. Have a great evening and weekend.